right. What's up? Welcome back to our first official episode.
Welcome back.
Of Uncomfortable Conversations. It's been a while, bro. It's been a while. I'm like, what do we say to these people? Like, we ain't talked to them in a long time. But nah, we miss y'all, and we excited to get back into having some uncomfortable conversations with y'all. We've been having some dope conversations in the group with them, though. Facts. So I feel like we've been keeping up the momentum, and now we back live and able to have conversations with y'all in a different format. So,
and if you do not know about our group, definitely join Uncomfortable Conversations on Facebook. It's a private Facebook group, but we are accepting anybody to join, anybody that's a part of the community that we're building.
Mm-hmm. And the goal with Uncomfortable Conversations is just to create a safe space for uncomfortable conversations where people can express themselves. And we sit here and we have uncomfortable conversations and dialogue in order to inspire people to do the same and just like have those conversations that you wouldn't typically have and, you know, get uncomfortable. So
we definitely appreciate the viewers already. Yes, 15 people joining us. Man, remember when we used to pray for 15?
Man. We used to have 6 up there like, hey, we lit. It's lit.
Loving it. Keep going up. So we definitely appreciate y'all. This is our first one back, so we got to get our vibe back.
For sure. The vibe is always there, though. No question about it. I know, like, because I'm looking here and there, but we gonna get it. It's smooth. So
definitely. And y'all see what we wearing.
Yes. Shameless plug. Support the brand. Also a sponsor. We're looking forward to having some really dope things coming out in the near future as well. You see the new logo, so we would love to get some merch. What you think? That would be pretty dope. Get some merch out there to y'all.
I need that logo on a hoodie.
Yes, that's coming real soon. What's up, Julian? Thanks for tuning in.
We see you, brother.
And then what's up, Aaron? Hey, y'all in here.
You can see the emojis too.
That's what's up. What's up, Greg? And I think too, we want to start having some sponsors on the show too, like people who, you know, want their brand exposed or want their brand shared with the community. We definitely would love for y'all to hit us up. I put out a post today seeing who would be interested in us talking about their brand on the show or wearing their brand. So we'll talk more about that at some point. Facts. Any more announcements before we get into it?
Man, I'm just ready to get into the vibes, man. Uncomfortable conversations.
What's up, Andrea? Thanks for tuning in.
All right. So y'all always know we always have our questions. We ask each other the questions, but we definitely want you all to answer these questions in the chat box. We love to talk about what's happening in the chat box on screen and in the conversation. That is never going to change. It's not an uncomfortable conversation if it's just Imani and myself. We want you all to be in this conversation as well.
Absolutely.
To really add to the gusto of our conversations. And that's what makes it even more uncomfortable. Reading some of the heavy things that y'all are sharing in the chat box on the screen, it really creates a more unique dynamic for Imani and I to discuss further. So, first question?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. It's cool having my phone right here. This is new for us, y'all. All right. So we celebrated a year of the pandemic, and we celebrated a year hiatus from Uncomfortable Conversations going live. See, somebody already peeped the olives.
I was trying to be smooth, bro.
Y'all should have saw before we got on camera the placement of the olives. We're not getting paid for these olives, y'all. She's just excited about olives.
I didn't eat dinner, y'all, or lunch, so.
Or lunch?
No. Can you open this for me, bro?
Oh, my God. See, what's going to be saucy if I can't open it? Oh, nope, God is good.
All right. Look at that. It pays to have a strong male co-host, but at the same time, don't gas him up. This is the second time he done brought up his games in this, and we ain't even start the episode yet.
God is good, man. And salute to my wife. We've been in the gym working out, okay? And the gym is home, okay? In home workouts.
Man, where Kahina at? We need her to tune in. We always love her comments during the show.
She was napping.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully she up now, but she just fell asleep. I was just like, I'm leaving, Hina. She out.
Who said no lunch or dinner? Your first choice. That's the best. I'm not doing this with y'all today. Go ahead, T. What's the first question, man?
Oh my
Let's
goodness.
get it.
Okay. The question is, and again, we want you all to answer the same question in the comments. Okay, how are you really feeling, or how are you really emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically? And I'm going to say that one more time because that's a heavy one. How are you really emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically? This is not an easy question, y'all.
It's not. Go ahead. You go first. I'm enjoying my olives, bro. Go ahead.
You funny, man. You funny. So I will say this. I am better in all of those areas now than I was pre-pandemic. Okay. And I know that sounds interesting. You know what I mean? I definitely recognize that the pandemic has hurt and slowed down so many people in a lot of these areas. But I'm definitely blessed. You know what I mean? I have a strong, I don't even want to say safety net because I don't want to call my wife my safety net, but she my backbone. You know what I mean? So like anytime there have really been some difficult moments, because best believe there have been those. But at this stage of the pandemic, emotionally, I feel like I'm in a great place. There was definitely moments, and we're going to get to that later, where I was definitely at a low. But today, right now, I'm feeling strong emotionally. Spiritually, it's so funny, because I had a conversation with Kahina, I think it was like a day or two ago, and I was like, we got to start watching church again, because we've been doing church virtually, and it was like 2 days where I was like, honey, we got to start watching church again. And she just looked at me, and she was like, we have been missing for a few weeks. And I think she was surprised that I'm the one that said it. Because my wife is definitely the more spiritually grounded out of both of us. She keeps me where I need to be. But during this virtual space, we've been on church every week.
Wow.
Yes, exactly. And this is not the norm for me personally. So that has been a huge shift that I think has been beneficial. Mentally, right now, I'm feeling great. You know, we've been talking about bringing uncomfortable conversations back for a while. You know what I mean? So for us to really be in position where we're actually going live again, I think it's a great space mentally, because this is a great release space.
Yes.
You know, we really do have uncomfortable conversations, and we appreciate y'all joining us. And physically, Amani already said it. I
didn't say nothing. Okay. You said that, fool. Don't put the words in my mouth.
The games are here.
I ain't commented on nothing. I ain't gassing you up today, bro. Here. I already gassed up the fit. My guy came in fly today. I ain't say nothing about no games. Last conversation I had with you, I was telling you we supposed to get out here and work out. So I ain't praising you for no workout till you get me out here with you. Perfect. Look. Appreciate you. Thanks so much. Shout out to Tone, y'all. Y'all hear him in the background. Man. We be wanting him to tune in. Every time I come in here, I be wanting to tune in and say something to the people. People love hearing from Tone. That's his favorite line. On the
first episode. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, y'all. So for me, I would say emotionally, I'm in, similar to what you said, I'm in a better place than I was in the beginning. I know we had a much more frequent conversations in the beginning, and I'm just like, I'm struggling mentally. You know, we stuck in a house. I'm by myself in these four walls. I feel like they're closing in on me. Like it was a struggle in the beginning. But I definitely feel like emotionally I have improved. I've been consistently meeting with my therapist and just being honest with myself about my emotions and how I'm feeling. I won't say I have great days every day, but when I do have my moments, I'm able to put things into perspective and, you know, have a more optimistic outlook on what's going on. We have conversations frequently, and I'm able to like put things into perspective and shift my mindset.
That's real.
Spiritually, see, I connect spirituality to so much more than church and like reading the Bible. Like I think it's really more so about me being spiritually in tune with God, with myself. Like me writing in my gratitude journal, to me, is being spiritually inclined. Like I'm being mindful and grateful and sitting in gratitude with the things that are going on in my life and appreciating the things that are going well. So for me, spiritually, I can't remember the last time I went to church. And it's crazy because I woke up this morning like I'm going to go to church at 8 o'clock. Then 10 o'clock came around. I'm going to go to 10 o'clock service. Then 12 o'clock came around. I'm like, I ain't going to church today. Like,
what stopped you? Let me ask you that.
I was tired. I texted you that today too. I was just like, I had to do laundry. I had to do laundry. Like, I was just exhausted. And I got myself to a place where I don't feel guilty about not getting up and going. And I was going, my intention was to tune in virtually, but I got up, started doing laundry, and got into moving around, and I just didn't get around to it. But I don't want my spiritual what, for lack of a better term, greatness or spiritual connection to be tied to whether or not I go to church, if that makes sense. And so spiritually, I think I'm doing okay. I definitely want to get a little better and be more mindful in adding things that make me feel full spiritually into my daily life, into my daily habits. Mentally, I think I connect that with emotionally. I definitely am still struggling, just more so because adulting and not because of the pandemic. It's just every day is something. Man, hard. And it's cool because I finally got to a place where I'm like, this is life. Like, it's never going to be all good. Like, I just made a tweet about that yesterday that people surprisingly responded a lot to. Like, they could really resonate with what I was saying. I was just like, adulting is like so crazy. Like, you good one moment, then you got to change your tires, and then you got to change your brakes, and then you good again, and then you owe the IRS some money, and then like you turn around and you know your lease is up. Like, that's what I was tweeting about yesterday. It's always something, like always something. Major life decisions are always having to be made, but I'm finally in a place where I'm like, this is life, and I'm cool with that. And lastly, physically, I need to get out here in the gym, y'all. I was talking about a summer body in the winter, and summer is pulling up on us, and I ain't done nothing. I have done a few cleanses, and that really got me.
You did an olive cleanse?
Shut up, bro. This guy is, man, y'all gonna be stuck on the olives the whole episode.
Jars, y'all. 2.
I gotta have options. I'm excited about these olives, man. Just in case you're curious. So physically I'm doing well. Clearly I'm making healthy choices. I could be eating very bad. Like, sodium is not the greatest in olives, but it's still a lot better than eating high flamings and the other trash that I be eating when I just be picking up anything and eating anything. So
you're not wrong.
So olives are amazing, y'all. Whole olives. I love the olives that got the pits in them, and I love my blue cheese stuffed olives. They gotta be a certain brand because some of them are terrible, disgusting. So shout out to the olives. Anyway, we can move forward. Did you have anything else to add? Did we get any comments about that from that question?
Some. That's why I switched the camera over here.
Yeah.
So while you're talking, so I can get us going.
Okay, I see the comments now.
I hope y'all comfortable with us saying y'all names on the screen because we always do that. Justin said, I'm peaceful. Took a while to get here, but I'm legit peaceful. Queen Lee said, I'm okay, but I know I can feel better than I do now. TDR Podcasting Network, emotionally, I'm good. Mentally, I'm drained. Spiritually, I'm good. Dominic Primus, it honestly depends on the day. Some are better than others.
That's real.
Whitney Bingham said they are all different. They are all different mentally and spiritually stronger, but physically getting better. Jaleel King said, amazing in every category. It has been a while for me to get to this point in my life.
Nice.
We appreciate y'all in the chat box showing y'all.
For sure. A few more came up on my end. I think it's Jalen. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm doing good now. Always room for me to do better. And then Dominique said, love the transparency. And I appreciate that because that's what we here for, like, to just be real and honest. There's several times where T tell me, like, tell your truth. Like, just say what's real on the show. And I appreciate this space. Is very therapeutic to be able to just be authentic and real about, how I'm feeling regarding whatever topic we're talking about.
Uncomfortable conversations, y'all.
Yes.
That's what we're here for.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next question. I added this question as we were thinking about what we wanted to talk about on this episode, and I'm wondering, why is it so difficult for some people to answer the question, how are you really? Because I think about myself, and when people ask me that, I have to look at you and decide whether I'm going to answer that question for real or not. Like, if my boss asks me, like my boss, like the director, like, hey, how you doing? And if T asks me, hey, how you doing? Those answers are going to be totally different because it depends on your comfort level. It depends on so many different factors or how you feeling that day. Like, do I even feel like going, into the details of what's going on in my life? Or is it easier just to be like, I'm good? You know what I'm saying? So what's your take on that?
For me, it's exactly like you just said. It really depends on who's asking me. I'm not about to just tell you how I'm really feeling, and you might just be asking me that just because you feel like that's just a natural thing to say. And I think what's really important is when folks be like you just said, I'm good. What they say after that really determines if I'm going to tell you how I'm really doing.
Facts.
Because if you just say I'm good, and Monty know that, she's like, oh, I'm good, Tegan. I'll be like, no. I need descriptions. I'm like,
every time.
You know that's like unacceptable, dang near. Like, tell me like I'm good. It literally, it doesn't tell you anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you could say I'm good and I'm terrible.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Literally. But I'm just not comfortable with giving you my time right now, depending on your energy that I'm giving, how you ask I'm good. Because text I'm good versus in real life, you good?
Right.
It's way different.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that is definitely a huge factor. And if I'm really going to tell somebody if I'm good or not or what I'm really going through.
Exactly. That's real. And that's how I would love to hear y'all thoughts on this too. Like for me, it really just depends how I'm doing that day. Like it depends on how am I really doing if I'm going to tell you how I'm really doing. And somewhere in here we're going to talk about the difference between how you respond if you're doing well. Because like if I'm not doing well and you ask me how I'm doing, the feelings that I get, the feelings that come up in that moment are a lot different if I'm doing great and like the day is going amazing. You know, I might be a little bit more lenient with who I tell how well I'm doing. So we'll get more into that as we continue with the conversation. We got some comments?
Yeah, I see. Thank you, Dominic, for saying love the transparency. Someone laughed at the olive cleanse comment. Dominic also said, some people don't care. They ask, and before you can answer, they're already on the next topic.
Facts. That's such a good point. And that's why for me, so as an introvert, I really have never been the type of person that's going to tell you exactly how I'm doing when you ask me. But I've always felt silenced as an introvert when I was younger. So I realized that every time somebody would ask me like how I'm doing, they wouldn't stick around to actually hear my real answer. So I stopped even being in a position to want to answer that truthfully. I'm just like, I'm good. And I just keep it at that because it's like, I'm not about to waste my time trying to really pour out my feelings to you and how I'm doing, and you already done moved on to the next conversation, or you ready to tell me how you doing and I ain't even ask. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's that active listening, right?
Yep.
Are you really here to listen to what I'm talking about? Are you gonna ask me, do I want feedback, or if you just want a sound, a sounding board? Like, what's the energy around the question?
Right.
Because, again, some folks just going to ask us that because they feel like they supposed to.
Right.
You know what I mean? You ain't got to ask somebody how they doing.
Exactly.
And on top of that, I don't even have to owe you a full response.
Literally. So
it, like we talked about earlier, like it really depends on what they say after that. Because like you just said, some people will ask you if you good just so they can tell you how bad they are.
Literally.
You know what I mean? They like, ain't nobody going to ask me how I'm good, so I'm just going to ask you.
So you can ask me. Or just so I can tell you. Like, that's real. That's
it's
real.
It's almost a scam. Tell me, bro, can I just vent right quick? Bet. Because you might not even have the capacity to handle how I'm doing.
Right. Can we normalize asking people their capacity? Like, we really need to normalize that. Like, are you willing to receive what it is that I have to share today? Are you open? Like, are you in a position to receive the heaviness that I'm going through right now? Like,
because it might be heavy.
Man, you just never know. You never know. And you gotta, like, I feel like asking for consent, it needs to be normalized when it comes to those kind of conversations. And obviously,
normalize consent in everything.
In every aspect of life. Everything. Like, every aspect of life. It's just important because we're going to talk more about that as we continue with the episode, because I have some strong feelings about that. And I guess that the next question kind of goes into that. Does everyone deserve a truthful answer to this question? Like we kind of talked about that. I don't think that we're required to let everybody know exactly how we doing.
I don't owe you.
And my thing is, I started going from saying I'm good if I know I'm not, and I'll just say I'm all right. And then if somebody asks me, oh, just all right, I'll be like, yep. And like, I don't feel required to let you know why I'm just all right. Like, I am going to be honest with you and let you know I'm not great, I'm not doing well. But I ain't got to tell you why I'm just doing all right if I don't feel like opening up in that way right now. You know what I'm saying?
Normalize saying that too, right?
Yeah.
So if I ask, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
hey, you all right? And you'd be like, I'm actually not. It's like, you want to tell me more? And it's okay to say, no.
Literally.
I actually, not right now.
Yeah.
And most folks don't say that. I feel like people dump and be like, dang, I really didn't want to dump on you. Like, because people say
they wait till afterwards, you know like, dang.
Like, why you? Not because on top of that, if it was traumatic, Now I gotta take on.
Yep.
You know what I'm. Now I got your vicarious trauma.
Literally. You
know what I'm saying? And you ain't even want to tell me for real.
Exactly.
So now I'm sitting here like, dang, bro, what I'm supposed to respond with this? You don't even want to tell me this for real, and now I'm sitting here like,
It's awkward. Set yourself up for that.
You know what I'm saying? And we set ourselves up too often. I'm seeing some great things in the comments.
Yes.
You
So
read? Go ahead.
Yeah, let's do it. So from Poncho, it says it's also about setting. It's also about the setting. I'm never going to vent at work, LOL, even if I have the time. I feel that, like...
What's up, Poncho?
Like, definitely keeping, though, that personal, professional separate, if that's what works best for you. There's some people that just... They got friends at work that they feel like they can be open with. Like, I work with people that are my friends outside of work. So if I get, like, I could take a moment.
Right there.
Man. Like, shout out to Simone. I don't know if she watched it or not, but I miss her. When I used to work with Simone, I knew it. When I walked into work, I could look at her and she knew when I was going through something, I could just tell her what's going on. Like, being able to work with people like that is definitely a blessing. But that's not everybody's experience. So don't feel like you need to go to work and just dump all your stuff on everybody or share everything that you feeling.
I recommend you don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
For sure.
Because then somebody will be like, they want to ask you to do so-and-so, but they know what you're going through.
Yeah.
But it could have been beneficial what they asked you to do, but they like, I don't know if I want to get that to them because they just told me A, B, and C.
It's a skill. It's a skill to be able to keep your personal and professional life separate. And I try to be big on that. I think the pandemic has shifted that reality because we kind of got no choice but to talk about what's going on in our personal lives. And just even if it's just a brief, like when we have our check-in questions at my job and, we have our staff meetings, I feel inclined to be like, you know what, I'm not doing the best right now. I don't feel inclined to go into detail about it, but I do feel inclined to be like, I'm not doing the best, so don't do too much today. Like,
that's real. What we got next?
So it looks like Whitney said, yes, I do my best to ask before dumping energy. That's so important. And then Jalen says, only the important people to me get a well thought out conversation. I feel like others don't care too much. That's real. That's real.
Okay. We ready for the next one?
Yes.
Aaron, I see you, brother. It's important to guard your heart and be discerning of who you share certain things with. Everyone is incapable of handling, especially if they don't intend on supporting you through
Facts. That's, I love that last part of what you said. I struggle the most with being very open with people because I know that they don't have the capacity to support me through what I'm going through. Like, if I can be transparent here, it's uncomfortable conversations. In my last relationships, not with an S, just one, the last one. They struggle with me opening up and being vulnerable and sharing what I was going through. But in my head, I'm like, you can't handle what I'm going through, so I'm not going to share with you the things that I'm going through. And is that fair? No, because I'm just like bottling everything in. I have this expectation for you to be there for me, but I know you can't, so I'm not sharing everything with you. You know what I'm saying? So I really struggle with that but I think that's real. Like what Aaron said, you should be able to not share certain things if you feel like that person don't have the capacity to carry what it is that you're sharing. And obviously that's a little different in a relationship that takes conversation and figuring out how that person can show up for you. And if they can't, maybe that's not the relationship for you. You know what I'm saying? But
let me add a little wrench in there, though.
Go ahead.
Because timing is important, too.
Absolutely.
So we, just like what you said, sometimes we feel like somebody isn't ready for the level of conversation that we need to have for maybe the level of dumping that we about to do.
Right.
But if they're doing well that day or they're better that day, they're in a better mind state that day, they might be better able to handle whatever we about to dump on them.
Facts.
Versus if they had a bad day and we know this, we'd be like, I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. Or I'm gonna wait till I know they're in a better position.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just I'm gonna put a wrench in that because that don't stop. I'm married.
Yeah.
And there be days where I'll be like, I don't even want to dump on you today because I know the level of day you had.
Yeah.
And it's not good for me to just like add to that, even though you are my support system. If I say this right now, it's just gonna be like, another weight. You know what I mean? And it's. Timing is valuable because if that conversation don't got to be had right then in the moment, it's not like there's no time constraint to that.
Right.
It might be beneficial to wait a little while to bring that up tomorrow or the day after that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just throwing a little wrench.
That's
in
real,
there.
and it is messed up when you're in a situation. Not to make this a relationship podcast episode, but what you said made me think like it's messed up when you're in a situation to where that the other person doesn't have the level of self-awareness to be able to be like, oh, like I don't have the capacity to hold your weight and the things that you be going through. Or at least that's your viewpoint, is that I don't have the capacity. But then whenever the opportunity presents itself, I'm dumping on you every chance that I get. Like, imagine that imbalance in a relationship. Like, that's a challenge. Yeah. And I just thought about that when you said what you said, because like that's beautiful to be in a relationship that has a dynamic where y'all have the self-awareness to be able to be like, you know what, today is not a dumping day. Like, and just understand that and accept that and move forward with your day and show up for that person the best way you can, without creating extra stress.
And I'm saying that, but I'm talking to myself when I say it too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, I feel that.
These are things that you consciously have to do, especially when you married forever. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't drop that skill for 10 months. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's something that you have to consciously be aware of through time, because as people say, every marriage is not always 50-50.
Yeah.
Sometimes in relationships, I'm married, so I always say marriage. Yeah. But in the context of relationships, it's the same. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's 60-40. Sometimes it's 20-80. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm out the game. I'm struggling. You know what I mean? You really gonna have to carry me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But at one point, it might be reversed, and they gonna remember when it was 20-80. Yeah. You know what I mean? So.
Dang, I got another question for you, but I'm like, I don't want to shift the conversation completely to relationships, and maybe I should just save it for another episode. But what you said made me think. So, like, at what point do you say this 20-80 is not gonna cut it? Like, at what point did the 20-80 become too frequent and you just like, I mean, obviously not, and I'm not asking for your because you're married, so that's totally different. And no, obviously, like I'm saying, it's different in the sense that y'all chose each other. So if y'all have months of 20-80, that's something that y'all married into. Like, it ain't no just walking away and being like, I'm done, unless you want to get a divorce, and that's not something you get a divorce for. I would think, but
it depends on what that 20-80
is. That's true. But I'm saying, if you dating somebody, it's like, how long you putting up with 20-80? If you the 20 and they the 80, like you getting 20 and they getting 80.
That's why some people get dumped, right?
Yeah.
I can't do 20-80 no more.
Yeah.
It's somebody out there that's better for you, because I can't do 20-80 no more. Or you need to be by yourself, because the 20-80 ain't helping you or me.
That's a word.
You know what I mean? And that's not easy though.
Yeah, and that's friendships and relationships, and I'm just speaking in general terms right now. So don't nobody listen to this and get offended and think I'm talking about you.
But it's uncomfortable conversation, so we might be talking about you.
I think it's important to think about these things in relationships and friendships, and walking away from that 80-20 friendship. Yeah, like walking away from that 80-20 friendship might be a benefit for you. So.
I just left a 20-80 friendship.
Really?
Oh, man. I don't know if we ready for that one.
Man.
Because everybody who know me going to know exactly who I'm talking about.
I feel like I might know, and we ain't talked about it, but I feel like I may know. All right. We're going to talk about that after the episode.
You probably do know. Do we got anything in the comments?
We do. Let's see. We got one more comment since the last time we checked. Whitney said, you def got to have a healthy balance with friends, family, and in romantic relationships. That's a huge point. We didn't even touch on the family piece. Like, it's some 20-80 family relationships out here. Like, 20-80 relationships with your parents. And it's just like, sheesh. Do I even want to go there?
We don't.
I know some people who really, really be struggling with some 20-80 relationships with their parents. But let's move on to the next question.
And that's heavy, because when we get older, that 20-80 relationship from parents to their kids. Oh my goodness. Dog. Yeah. Oh my goodness, dog. That's next question.
Let's go.
That's a whole topic. I just sat here
and deep thought. I'm like, dang, I got so much to say about that, but we gonna save it.
Holy moly.
At least we know we got our groove back, and we know we got plenty stuff that we want to talk about. Like, we ain't even got literally, we ain't even got to think too hard about these topics. All right, so where did we leave off at?
How do you answer it? Oh no, we did both of them. I think we just. Let's do. Does everyone deserve? No, we did that.
We
too.
did that. Yeah.
Oh, we wanted.
We didn't even have to look at the questions. We just flowing.
Okay, I like this. What areas did you grow in during the pandemic? And I want to see this in the. I want to see this in the comment box. What areas did you grow in during the pandemic?
I don't think I did no growing. No,
I know that ain't true. I know that. I know. I've seen the growth.
I would love to hear our own perspective about each other. Like, in what ways do you feel like we witnessed each other grow? Even thinking about the dynamic of our conversations in the podcast, or just things like that. That would be interesting to talk about. Because I'm sitting here thinking too. I should have thought about this beforehand. Like, what areas do I feel like I've grown? And I'm so hard on myself, so I'm having a hard time picking like. Is that?
Think about adulting in and of itself. Yeah. I can give at least 2 examples of you right now where I've like, you grown since that happened. Yeah.
I guess, and I'm trying to think like how specific am I?
This uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah, I know, bro. Because I'm thinking about the conversation.
I always gotta remind you.
I'm thinking about the conversation we just had the other day. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get transparent, bro.
I'm curious which one you finna say.
The last conversation we just had.
Oh, dang, that's a real one.
And it's real. And the only reason I'm sharing this right now, y'all, is because this can help somebody else. Like this situation could be beneficial to somebody else. Because I never had this conversation with anybody before it happened to me. And I had to learn a hard lesson on my own, and it's cool because I'm good from it now. It actually happened last Monday, the last episode of Wolfpack. If y'all tune into that podcast as well, I just got home. I mean, I just got here to the studio and got done crying in the car. Like, had to clear my eyes. Like, what the heck, man? Like, okay, so let me get to the point. Anyway, so that Monday, y'all. I was getting ready to leave the house to make a stop before heading to the podcast, and I come outside, fam, and my car is gone. My car is gone, the whole thing. And I was kicking in with my brother the night before. We had a family little kickback at my brother's house. And so, I had a few drinks. So I'm like, did I take an Uber home? Was I being safe? Like, but I didn't drink that much. So I'm like, where's my car? Like, I'm tripping. My mind didn't go to it being stolen or anything like that. My first mind went to like, oh snap, I forgot to follow up on that payment arrangement with my car company because I leased my vehicle. And so immediately, I didn't even cry right away. I just was like, that I dropped the ball. I dropped the ball, and I walked into the house with Grace, and I called the people, and I was just like, people, where's my car? I'm like, what's going on?
Where's my car?
And then when I found out how much it was for, and it was just a real unnecessary situation. This is one of them companies where, they give you no grace period. They just like, if you miss a payment and you mess up, they coming for you. And so I neglected my responsibilities as an adult, and I had to pay the consequences. Way to say it right there. Man, literally. And I was telling T, I called T, we was on the phone, and I'm like, man, T, like, you won't believe what happened to me. And the old me calling T would have been hysterical on the phone, like, bro, like, what am I gonna do? It's crazy. This T'Angelo is like a mentor to me, but we also super dope friends and able to do a podcast together. And I'm just always learning dope stuff from T'Angelo. And as I was talking to him, I was just like,
right back at you,
bro, like, I've grown in this area because a long time ago, even a year ago, I would have completely responded differently to this. I would still be crying on this phone right now, but I had to stop feeling sorry for myself. And I was like, I made a mistake, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to grow from it. I wasn't even able to get my car back that day. I had to wait. I had to have a bunch of conversations. I had to move some funds around. I had to get my life together. But
adulting.
I never thought that I would experience my vehicle being repossessed. I was like, even that word, it's a cuss word to me. Repossessed. That's a cuss word. Like, that hurt. Like, it hurt my feelings, especially because I work so hard. Like, I'm grinding 24/7. I work a 9 to 5. I'm running my business. I'm constantly in these spaces where I'm trying to like figure out extra side hustles just to make ends meet. And everything I do, I try to do with intention. And every dollar I spend, I try to spend with intention. Obviously, I'm a young adult that spend money on unnecessary things and make unnecessary spending decisions. But at the same time, I try to be mindful. I'm a lot more mindful than I was years ago. And so I'm in a space where I'm cleaning up my finances right now and trying to get everything in order. And it's a journey, it's a process, but I guess that's the biggest growth moment that I've had this pandemic, and that was just last week. So I can't imagine I can't imagine the growth that's going to take place moving forward. But yeah, the car got repossessed last week.
You said it again, y'all. Oh
it's a whole cuss word. Like, it hurt. Like, I can say it with confidence now, but last week, and it was embarrassing because I'm like, I was supposed to be meeting up with Julian, who's on the Wolfpack with me, and I was supposed to pick him up for the podcast, and I was like, Ju, I can't come get you, bro. I couldn't even say why because I couldn't fix my mouth to say those words. I was just like, I was in disbelief. Like, I really dropped the ball. Like, so it was a messed up situation, but I am a lot more optimistic about it now. I'm confident that won't ever happen again in life. But sometimes stuff, things got to happen. We got to learn the hard way. And that's one of them instances when I learned the hard way. So y'all pray for me and keep me uplifted and just pray that I get it together. I figure this adulting thing out.
That's mad real. For those of you just joining us, the question we discussing is, what areas did you grow in during the pandemic? What areas did you grow in during the pandemic?
You sure you don't want no olives, bro? You sure you don't want no olives? These are delicious, bro. What about you, Joe?
For everybody at home, I do not eat olives with Imani. She do this on her own. I will never purchase olives in the capacity that she has them. It's just not going to happen. I want all y'all to know that, okay? She's on her own. She put them in the camera for y'all at home, okay? So, back to the question. What areas did you grow in during the pandemic? Oh, man. I feel like I've grown in a lot of areas. In even all the areas we talked about in the beginning of the podcast. Mm-hmm. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. But the one that I guess I want to highlight is more so because you talking about it. Finances. Mm. You know what I mean? Because it's one that I feel like, especially our community, is one that has held us back in almost every capacity, our finances, mainly because we just don't know. Mm-hmm. Financial literacy in our community is different than in other communities. The idea of what we're supposed to do with our money, how we're supposed to save it, how we're supposed to invest it, and when we talk about investing, the different ways we can invest it, we always think the big time. We think the Jay-Z's, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And, we can't invest because we ain't got their money. It's like, oh, man, you can go get you a little Robinhood account if you got the money. You know what I mean? If you got the money. Right. Investing is also saving your money. Mm-hmm. You put it in a high-yield savings account or just a regular savings account. You know what I mean? And for me, I say this is one of the largest areas of growth for me. It's because Hina and I met with a financial advisor early on in the pandemic. Salute to that brother. And he just gave us a lot of wisdom. Because similar to what Imani said, I was spending money frivolously. Mm-hmm. That don't, you know what I mean? From 25 to 29, spending frivolously looks mad different. Mm-hmm. Mad different. Facts. You know what I mean? But what I learned was you can spend frivolously and it not actually hurt the things you got to do. Mm. And how he called it, he called them fun accounts. A pocket of money that's yours that you specifically save to spend on whatever you want. Mm. Shoes, clothes, chains, which these are all things that I fell into during this pandemic. But when it came out the fun account, it didn't hurt. You know what I mean? All my bills is paid. I can do this. I can do that. Mm-hmm. I can get what I want to. And just that small shift in my thinking, and just my financial literacy, I just feel like went through the roof just from knowing that. Like, oh, you can do that?
Right.
People do this? I didn't know that. Like, and my wife was looking at me like, you didn't know that? Because she just know. I feel like she know everything.
She do. Kahina be coming through with the wisdom.
Right.
I be in mentor sessions with Tiangelo. I'm like, put Kahina on the phone. Let me hear what she got to say, because she be in the background dropping gems. I'm like, let's say that a little louder. I need to hear what you got to say.
She'll be like, T, did you say A, B, and C? I was like, no, honey. She's like, make sure you say that.
I'll be like, just give Kahina the phone.
Right. But that's definitely a big one for me. Spiritually, like I've referenced earlier, I feel like I'm more in tune. I'm more comfortable. I've been, I do my offerings. I don't say I tithe, but I do my offering. You know what I mean? And 7 months ago, A year ago? Tithing?
You wasn't going, bro.
Get my money to who? Who church? What they finna do with my money? I was real funny about that, but that's a whole nother conversation. Church and the millennial, church and Gen Z. That's a whole conversation. But yeah, physically, I'm back at a weight that I was pre-pandemic.
And I don't want to hear about that. You ain't had me out getting these games with y'all. I feel some type of way. I'm salty,
First
bro.
off, you just said, T, we got to get on the track. I'm like, folk, I've been over here, Faye, getting to it. You know what I mean?
Man,
so, yeah, I'm blessed. Let's hit these comments, though. I hope y'all was in these comments giving us this game. What have y'all gained? What have y'all grown in during this pandemic?
For sure. We got one dope comment from Whitney. She says, I had a huge mental revelation during this pandemic. I need structure and consistency, so the pandemic flipped my world upside down because I had no control. So I dug deeper into mindfulness and healing on a deeper level. Finally gave into therapy, and it has been amazing. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's real. That's so real. I'm an extremely...
appreciate you sharing that. That's love.
I feel that I'm an extremely structured person, and so... The pandemic definitely was a challenge for me, but also a benefit because I was able to create my own structure, being able to work from home and develop that. But also it was challenging in the very beginning when we had to stay home because I'm like, how am I supposed to feel all this time at home? And I'm moving around all the time. Like I'm always doing something, always driving somewhere, getting into something. So it definitely was a challenge in that aspect. But Whitney, I definitely feel where you're coming from. I agree with you 100%. And I'm really, really happy for you that you were able to get into therapy and, introduce more mindfulness into your life. That's a blessing.
Thank you for sharing that as well.
Yes.
I see one. This one is funny because it directly connects to us. TDR Podcast Network. My brand grew the most it ever has during this time. That's who's hosting us right now, y'all.
Yes,
so huge shout out to him.
I wish I could turn the camera so y'all could see Tone. Tone tired. Tired Tone tonight.
Oh, marketing. Grown more in marketing. Okay, and that's from Darmi Rivera. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for sharing. Our next question is very similar, but more on a, you could say almost a heavier side because we don't talk about this part as much, but what have you struggled with during this pandemic? What have you struggled with during this pandemic?
All right, for me, let me finish my olives. You go ahead,
I feel you. And y'all, join us in the chat box. What have you struggled with during this pandemic?
And please share this. Y'all, the views have been very consistent. We appreciate y'all. Please share our live. I see a lot of people have been sharing it. And we appreciate y'all.
That's love. Appreciate y'all.
Kahina tuning in. I see she.
She in now.
I'm geeked. It's real now.
What again? Our question is: what have you been struggling with during this pandemic? And that's such an interesting question for me, because I always, when people always preface, like when someone says how I'm doing, I was like, man, I know some folks who have struggled during this pandemic, and I feel like, at least in my household, I've come out of this pandemic in a better position. Mm-hmm. So to say what I've struggled with, I would more so say what are times during the pandemic that I was struggling. Mm-hmm. Because right before the, probably like 5-6 months before the pandemic hit, I started a new career position, mm-hmm. With a lot of flexibility and opportunity, and then the pandemic hit, and it was just this weird feeling of like, how am I supposed to pivot during this pandemic? And that was a real hard space for me for a while, figuring out what is a healthy balance. Because this pandemic, man, for some of y'all similar to Amani and I who have desk jobs but mm-hmm. also interact with the community, this Zoom life, this Teams life, this Google Meet life.
I'm not about this life.
You know what I mean? Like I appreciate the flexibility of these channels, but all the time has been a bit much, man. Zoom fatigue is real. Like, that was not a word or a phrase prior to this pandemic. That was new because of the pandemic.
Man, it's a whole vocabulary list they need to come out with, all pandemic words. Like, all the words we done came up with during the pandemic. Starting with STEMI. I'm dead. Of course.
STEMI.
It's the STEMI for me. Speaking of, Joe, where my STEMI? I'm not. If you listening.
That was funny. I'm passing it to you.
Man.
Oh, that's funny.
Man, I didn't expect that. I knew you was going to say something funny, but I didn't know you was going to pick STEMI too.
That word is hilarious.
Man, hilarious. And it was trended on Twitter, which was hilarious to me because like it's become regular vocabulary for people now. Hilarious.
I love black people.
Love them. We create the culture, every culture, all of it. We the blueprint. What question am I asking? I got lost in the STEMI talk.
What have you struggled with during this pandemic? Let us know in the comment section for y'all too. I would
say for me, my biggest struggle has been here. Another transparent moment. Work in general. I'm extremely, and then I've been challenged with the reality that I need to be grateful that I even have a job during times like this, and I'm extremely grateful. And people from my job may be tuning in, but I just don't want to be working right now because I have so much that I want to be doing with that time. And not to say I don't want to be working, but the expectations that exist and what's required of me, because I work in direct service, so I still like the direct service don't stop. We still have deadlines to meet and we have things that we have to do for our young people. And honestly, the main thing keeping me there is my students. Like, I absolutely love working with young people. But if that wasn't my reality, like, I would just risk it all and do the business full time. But I have to be mindful and be a responsible adult and be like, I have to, stick it out and do it. And don't get me wrong, I love my job and I am very passionate about the work that I've been able to do at my job. If it didn't stem in my passion, like if I wasn't doing something I was passionate about in my job, I wouldn't be there. So I'm definitely grateful for that. But if I'm being 100% honest, I've struggled with having to still be responsible for work responsibilities every day, Monday through Friday, capacity. 9 to 5. When I tell y'all I'm waking up early every day, doing my business needs, whatever, tending to my business. Like, I'll wake up an hour early, try to do something personally for myself, get into business, packaging orders, whatever I got to do, doing work from 9 to 5 in Zoom meetings, 3-hour meetings at a time some days, longer than 3. Like, we done had some meetings that have been all day long, and that's been a challenge because then I get to the end of the day, I still got stuff I got to do for my business. So I'm taking care of business needs to wrap up my day and hopefully got time to make me a meal or do something, to take care of myself. It gets exhausting. And then add the pandemic stress on top of that, the reality that we are living in a whole pandemic. And for some reason, I feel like folks have been forgetting that throughout this time. Like, capitalism. It's ridiculous. So my biggest struggle for sure has definitely been working to the capacity that I've been required to work.
That's real. Because we all work. It's just the pandemic has made capacity very great. Like, oh, you're at home. We don't even have lunch breaks no more, y'all. Man. Does anybody even think about that?
And like, our meetings be scheduled straight through lunch, so I just be trying to eat. I be in the kitchen with the air fryer, like, let me put this in here real quick and grab this, put myself on mute real quick so I can grab this food. Man,
we used to never have meetings over noon. Now it's like, oh, we at 12:30. Folks, what? We have one meeting from this to this time. You be having another meeting right on that.
Literally. You might get a 5-minute break.
No.
Might. No. If you're lucky. Well, for me, if I'm lucky, I'll get a 5-minute.
I had to start telling people, oh, I'm off camera because I'm eating. And there used to be like 5 other people in the comment section. Man,
I be so uncomfortable eating on camera. I be feeling like people watching me. I'm like, I don't want to be rude and keep turning my camera off, but I can't sit here and watch y'all watch me eat, fam. Like, it's
people
enough
be
for
eating
me.
Mad weird, y'all. It just be like, it be captivating. Like, why do you eat like that? What is wrong with you?
Man, that's real. What I would love to hear what y'all struggling with.
I definitely see some love in the chat.
Let's see what they talking about. You got it, T? Or you want me to do it? All right.
Oh, I'll do a few. You do a few.
All right, cool.
Whitney said, my anxiety hates these doggone masks. Laughing but very serious.
That's real.
Jordan, what's up, bruh? Isolation has been a struggle for sure. Fun for 20. Here's something uncomfortable. We as black folks need to be good fathers and providers.
I think that's just a future topic.
Yeah, that's a future topic. Okay, sure. Gotcha. I was lost. That's why I paused. I was like,
no, that's real. That's real. It looks like Kahina said,
what'd she say?
I've been struggling back and forth with trying to be superwoman and setting realistic expectations for myself because we are still in a pandemic. That's so real, Kahina. Like, literally, I have to remind myself all the time, like, oh, yeah, we are in a pandemic. Like, give yourself a break. Like, relax. It's not the end of the world. Like, man. So, I feel that 100%.
We really be having that conversation at home.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's her, sometimes it's me. We'd be like, why do we think we have to do all of this stuff? Like, I be having peers and I tell them, no. Man, we just talked about that. But this concept of, especially us as black folks who are trying to be leaders and representatives for our community, and then we be having like 10, 20 things, and then we ask some of our peers, like, oh, what you doing? They be like, oh, I ain't got nothing going on. And I just be like, nothing? They be like, no, I be mad bored. And I be like,
I'm like, how?
What?
Man.
Blows my mind. Which question you want to ask to close us out?
I
like the first one, but I feel like you're gonna ask the second one.
Dang, I know. I want both of them. We might as well answer both quick.
How we gonna answer these quick?
I don't even know my answer to the first one. How about you answer the first one, I answer the second one?
Okay. When you think about post the pandemic, what do you want to be held accountable for? I want to be held accountable for how I navigate this hybrid model that we're going to go back to, especially in the work world post the pandemic. Again, I'm speaking this because I want y'all to keep me accountable for this. I don't want any job to tell me that I have to be in an office 7 days a week.
Or 5, for that matter, to be honest with you.
Right, when I say 7, 5 days a week. I think most of us have shown what we can do in a pandemic from home. I don't want anybody to sit here and tell me, oh, you got to come to the office for that. Folks, I did this for a whole year.
A whole year.
I can almost say that I've done more in the pandemic than I have pre-pandemic. And I've had more time in the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, ain't no way you about to sit here and tell me, oh, T, you're just not going to be able to do this job unless you're in the office 5 days a week. Don't lie to me.
Right.
And I'm taking that model from here on out. I'm not letting anybody tell me I have to be in an office 5 days a week.
Facts.
No.
Facts.
Max 3.
If you're lucky.
That's my energy. That's where I'm at. I'm not going to your
8
office.
hours, like, it's a no.
No.
That's real.
Hit them with your question.
All right, we wrapping it up with, if you're actually doing great, when someone asks you the question, how are you doing really, do you tell them how great you're doing if they seem like they aren't doing well? So that question was big for me because, and we kind of hit on it a little bit in the beginning of the podcast today. We talked about like if somebody asks you, it depends on who it is. But like, also I'm wondering, like, if they're not doing well, are you hesitant to share good news with them? That's basically what sums up what the question is. And for me, I've had a hard time sharing certain news or information with people because I feel like I may be making them uncomfortable or making them, feel some type of way because they going through it right now. And if we are honest with ourselves and thinking about the reality that, like, if you down in the dumps and you just having a rough time, like a rough period in your life, and somebody just geeked, like, they life is perfect, they ain't got no issues, everything going on, you can't say that you not, like, a little salty, like, dang, like, I'm waiting on my moment. Like, some people be really thinking like that. Like, and if we honest with ourselves, like, for me, it's not a comparison thing. I think some people be thinking, like, I think the average person, or I can't even say the average, but like the people I'm around, they know how to be happy for you. Right. They know how to be like, oh man, that's dope. But like, feel like genuinely everybody may have that moment, not even necessarily your friends, but like you had a tendency to be on social media and stuff like that, like, oh dang, like they grinding, like they really get into it, like maybe I need to get to it more, or like you just have I think it's an unconscious thing, like an unconscious thing where you like, oh snap, like dang, like let me get busy, or let me get focused, or let me do, or let me pick their brain and see how I can, better my life, because I'm struggling right now, you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like that's a social media era?
Definitely. And I guess that kind of veers off from the question, but I think that ties in too, like and I think that's why I asked this question. It's more of a social media thing. Like, are you hesitant to share good news on social media? Like me during the pandemic, I was hesitant to share certain things. I'm like, people are losing their lives right now, people are struggling right now, I'm not finna share this big news. And so I think it definitely, your mindset around what other people may be going through plays a huge role in how much information you share, how much positive information you share with people.
I feel that. Let's see these comments before we, give our final words.
Man, let's see what they got to say.
I feel like some folks answered my question. Some folks answered your question. TDR Podcast Network. I struggle with keeping the kids in virtual school. They have checked out for so long. Shira Higgins said, staying focused. Ashley Nichols says, biggest struggle right now is trying to include my partner in our child's health care. Only one parent allowed to accompany. That's heavy.
That's heavy. Real. Thanks for sharing, y'all, the vulnerability.
Kahina, a.k.a. Mrs. Cargile. Fitness and boundaries. Pancho, you hilarious. I'm skipping you. Ooh, Pancho, funny. You want to take the rest?
They're not popping up for me.
Okay, yeah. I got you. Whitney Bingham said, I'm sharing my positive energy every time. It can flip that negative energy in the room quick. I feel that. Perspective. Ashley Nick. I feel like I keep saying Ashley.
I think her name is Ashley, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
She's one of my Facebook friends I never met in real life, but absolutely adore and appreciate. She just always supporting.
She be showing love in the
always
group.
Showing
she
love.
Do. In my experience, people will either match your energy or downplay their own success or victories in their goal. It's become a common courtesy, especially in customer service. I think you should be proud of your victories and success. I think showing support for your friend's struggles isn't mutually exclusive. That's heavy. And Miela Fatah, what you're saying is real AF, Amani. It's hard. I'm trying not to cuss on the show, but I'll be like,
it's some filters. Say what you want, bro.
What's up, Miela? Appreciate you joining.
Yes, thanks for tuning in. We love all the work you're doing in the community. All the stuff that y'all
local
doing.
Celebrity.
Yes. We got the big dogs tuning in. Man, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all stuck through like the full episode.
It's
or
our longest
like
episode.
Yeah, and I really like this is dope, y'all. Like, let's continue the same energy. We're gonna continue to talk to y'all in the comments. We'll keep y'all posted on when the next episode will be. Follow us on
back
Instagram.
Monthly, y'all.
Yep,
we back monthly.
Yep, and we're gonna do bi-weekly. We're gonna talk about that. We'll bless y'all.
Money be trying to jump out the window. We're just trying to get this monthly on the books.
We might bless y'all with 2 episodes a month. We'll let y'all know. We'll keep y'all posted. I'm making them uncomfortable right now. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the show.
It be hard to lock us both down.
It do. We're going to dedicate some time to it. But we appreciate y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back again real soon. Once again, shout out to my olives.
And make sure you go to our Facebook group, Uncomfortable Conversations.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Peace.
We out.